I would like to also highlight one particular sector which we have identified as a sector with a higher risk setting. And this is the nightlife industry, which comprises bars, clubs, karaoke lounges, as well as nightclubs. And we know these are higher risk settings. The nature of the activities themselves, of such activities, means that you have people socializing in close contact, often in a small enclosed space, and the risk is very much higher. We've seen it in many other countries where large clusters break out in these sorts of settings. So even at the start of phase 3, when we enter phase 3, we do not expect to reopen these or resume these activities anytime soon. We are prepared to consider pilots in some of these settings with much more stringent safe management measures in place. So we will discuss with the nightlife industry how some of these pilots can take place and what are some of the more stringent conditions. But the basic point is that we do not expect the nightlife industry to be able to reopen or to be able to go back to what it used to be anytime soon, which means that the industry has to be prepared for quite a long period of restrictions being in place. So the government will put in place also assistance measures to help the industry during this period. And in particular, the assistance measures will enable business operators and owners to exit, transit, and pivot to new areas. So details of that assistance package will be highlighted and announced separately. The additional measures that will be put in place would include, and they are not limited, but would include things like having testing of customers before they enter the premise, using a rapid test kit. They would include making sure that all the prevailing safe management measures that we already have in place today are also implemented within the premise itself, which means that people cannot intermingle. They have to have physical distance apart. Music cannot be loud. There is already a prevailing music level for F&B that will have to be exercised, similarly in the nightlife sector. And then we would also want to find ways to ensure that these safe distancing and safe management measures are fully complied with. So we might have to use, whether it's CCTV or some way to ensure effective compliance with the measures at all times. So those are some of the ideas we have, but we are still in discussion, or we will be discussing this with the nightlife industry. And like I said, we are not doing this for everyone. We are starting with a few pilots. That's the intent. Based on the pilots, we will consider whether it is safe to proceed. And it's also for the industry itself to consider whether it's viable to proceed. Because with all these measures in place, a dance club may not sound like a dance club anymore. If there is safe management and safe distancing measures, for you to be separated from another person. So we'll have to have this conversation with the industry to consider what's the best way to proceed.